folks, Ariel and Barely over here. It's a little before it's actually really daylight on a rainy morning. It's a little bit above freezing, and we are off to the post office because we just got a phone call that we've got some new members joining our little homestead. So come along and see what we've got. Here's our latest additions to the homestead. You can probably hear them. About to see what they actually look like. Oh, look at the baby chicks. These are little babies. Yeah, you smell them? It's going to be your job to make sure they stay all safe. Yeah, they just cheep, cheep, cheep. Do they make you nervous? Yeah, you're going to be their protector. You're a good boy. Okay, guys, we've got our very first little babies on the homestead. Really's not sure what to think. He's not. These fellas just made it the whole way from Wisconsin. Rest of that little box open. They're very cheepy. I could hear them when I stepped through the front door of the post office before even getting in the back. Everybody looks to be alive. So we are going to take them out one at a time and be sure that they all know where the water is. No, lay down, lay down. You've got to be very gentle. Look at these little cutie fluff balls. Very gentle. So we're just going to dip their beak. Beep, 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 beep. Lay down. Okay, good boy. Dip their beak in water. All kinds of colors. Make sure they know where the water is. Got light ones, got dark ones, because they haven't had anything to eat or drink for 2 days since they hatched out. This is pretty normal. A chick, when it hatches, is basically living off of the egg yolk, just like when you would eat an egg or the egg white, when you would eat an egg for breakfast. You would be consuming a lot of the same nutrients these guys are living on. There you go. They got water and they got food. I'm going to talk more about these details in a second. Again, just want to show the camera what an adorable little critter this is. Here's another totally different colored little fawn. So a few of these little fellas are starting to drink. A few, as you can see, are pecking at their food. A couple are huddling together over here. They probably need to warm up just a little. It was a very chilly morning out there. We had the heat on in the car. And so they should have stayed warm enough getting back here from the post office. These are, well, I ordered 25. If I counted right, there's actually 26 here. So far all alive and looking happy. Of little tiny chicks shoving each other around. These are Icelandic chickens, so I'm going to explain more about them in a second, but as you can see, there are lots and lots of colors. This, what you're looking at, is my temporary little chick brooder box. Normal people get chicks and they put them under a heat lamp somewhere in their garage or shed or barn or chicken coop. I don't have any of those right now. We will very shortly, but we don't right now. And I waited till clear at the end of May here to get, have these scheduled to show up because I was hoping for it to be warmer. This last week has rained and snowed all week, including this morning. It looks like the sun may be coming out now, But anyway, I knew for the first few days at least they were probably going to need more warmth than I could give them somewhere else. I can't run a heat lamp very well here because for one, they use a lot of power. Really, that's enough noises. I know you want to play with them, but you're going to have to be very gentle because they're so tiny. Couldn't very well run a heat lamp because of its power draw. Plus, they're a little bit dangerous. I nearly lost my 2 nieces and brother and sister-in-law when their house almost burned down and their shop did this past winter from a fire caused by one. Good boy. Anyway, so this is my little chick brooder set up for their first few days. They're going to outgrow this quite quickly, but they have water and food. As you can see, they're pecking on that. This is I might have to do some adjusting. I wasn't sure how tall they would be, so I'm probably going to have to change my little setup here, but I tried to make them a fake mama chicken that they could huddle under in the corner. The wood stove is right on this end, so it should make this nice and cozy warm, and they're going to be inside here for a few days. Aren't they adorable? So, chickens on our little, very gentle baby. Very gentle. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Hey. Lay down. The whole way. Good boy. Burley's really not sure what to think about these little pee-pee things that are all of a sudden in his house. I think they're pretty cute. Chickens are something I've wanted to have for quite a long time now. I did not attempt to keep them in the old location for a couple reasons, but primarily the sheer predator volume. This little girl wants, or boy, whatever he is, wants to cuddle up and go to sleep. So we're just going to let him go back down here with everyone else. Anyway, you're going to get to listen to them peeping in the background. There's so many predators in that, being tucked into the woods in the last spot that I did not think there was really any chance I could keep a chicken alive there unless I built a concrete bunker on all sides, underneath, etc. And that wouldn't be much of a life for a chicken. But that was one of the things I knew for sure that I wanted to be able to do on whatever new place we ended up on. For various things, including eggs. Clay and I use a lot of eggs. I use them in cooking. Clay likes eggs for breakfast every morning. I've never been much of a breakfast person, so I don't tend to eat breakfast. But anyway, I wanted to be able to produce our own, both because I like to be as self-sufficient as possible. I like to have as much of my food raised as close to my home as possible. And the living room is fairly close to my home, though they're not staying here. And I like knowing what's going into my food and how animals are treated. And I just like chickens. Now, I can't say I had my own chickens before, but I have helped with chickens. My parents had various poultry when I was growing up. But it feels a little bit like being a first-time mom to all of a sudden have 20-something little baby peep-peeps relying on me to take care of them. So I did a good bit of research because I knew I wanted, to have chickens. I knew I wanted eggs. I also know I live in a pretty cold place. We have long winters. We have lots of snow. And there are, breeds of almost any animal. I mean, cows, sheep, pigs, whatever, including chickens, that people have kind of specialized through selective breeding the traits over time to do better in warm areas, to lay more eggs, to produce more meat, to do better in cold areas, and so on. I wanted something, obviously, that could handle cold fairly well, so I started reading up on all the cold-hardy breeds I could find. Burley's panty because he's just a little excited and wound up, and it's hard to have self-control when there's baby birds squeaking at you. Anyway, I read about a whole lot of different breeds, and there was other ones I considered, and then I ran into Icelandic chickens, which I kind of fell in love with, I think, just from reading about them. They were brought to the area of Iceland. People think from I think Roman soldiers, probably, almost 1,000 years ago. Chickens are native to jungles. They're, the original wild chickens were jungle fowl. And so that's a pretty long way from a place with a climate like Iceland or my mountain Wyoming area. But anyway, Romans brought some chickens with them. Some stayed. And then the population there was pretty well isolated for the next 1,000 years. So there's a kind of breed, which I'll try to explain more on later, called a landrace breed. It's basically where you don't have, say, a Labrador Retriever, which is always a Labrador Retriever bred to another lab, but you have just all the dogs in one area, or all the chickens in one area. They have been breeding for a long time with no mix from anything else from anywhere else, and so you end up with a strain of the animal, in this case chickens, that is pretty well adapted to that kind of climate and conditions. And so that seemed like a good thing. Iceland is, in some ways similar to my climate. It's cold a lot. It's dark, long dark days in the winter. And so I checked out who else was raising this kind of birds, and there's some folks in Alaska doing pretty well with them. And there's not a lot of them in this country, in the States, but there are some. And there are a few folks who have done a lot of work to preserve the breed and make them available for people like me who would like to raise them as well. So, back in January, I ordered 25 baby chickens from one of the lovely gentlemen who is doing that, who's been breeding them for a long time. And these are called straight run. So some of these are boys and some are girls. And, given averages, they should end up being about half and half. I'm letting them get settled in here, so we're not going to investigate that at all right now. And they should be nice and comfy. That stove is just close enough to be keeping this end wall pretty warm. If they're too warm there, they can come over here and cool off a little bit. Most of them are eating and drinking. A few are napping. You want to come around the back and look at them? Yeah, they're pretty cute, aren't they? They are. Very cute. I think so, too. You're going to have to be very gentle with them because you're going to be their big brother protector. Very gentle. Come back over here, baby. Come here. So, that is, the plan is for these to be egg layers. And hopefully, from here on out, I will be able to, that's why I wanted boys and girls. Not all the boys will stick around long term if they're half boys, because that's a few too many. But I did want to have a couple roosters of my own, so in the future I can hatch out my own chicks. Now, Icelandic chickens, I think it's cool that they're such a heritage breed. I think they're on the watch list. They're not considered endangered, but there's not a lot of them, so I'd like to be eventually part of helping preserve a kind of rare breed. They fit, really well with the things they've been, having to deal with for 1,000 years with my kind of climate, and they're beautiful. They come in all kinds of colors. Show you what a few adults look like. It'll be interesting to see what all these little peeps look like when they start to grow their real feathers out and grow up. And what all colors we actually have. And anyway, this is exciting. So this is not your typical chick brooder setup. I looked at how a lot of different people were doing things who also lived off-grid or with limited power. Now the hope actually was that by the time they got here, Clay's shop, which you guys probably haven't heard about yet, but we are putting up a shop for Clay. That's going to be important with all the tools he has and work he does, was going to be up. Now, it probably wasn't going to be finished or insulated or, wired for power, anything like that, but I was hoping to be able to keep baby chicks in there as a place to keep them out of the weather. I still thought for the first few days they would most likely end up here beside the wood stove with that as the main heat source. Now that shop, the crew is actually supposed to be here any minute today to start on. So we'll see if they end up in there at all, or if they grow up faster than the shop goes up. But for now, we have me, barely 25 chicks in here. Clay is at his job today, so he hasn't gotten to meet them yet. English Shepherds are generally pretty good poultry protectors. Burley grew up on a little off-grid homestead with various poultry. His mama, I hear, once tackled a hawk right out of the air that was trying to haul off a chicken. So hopefully when he calms down here a little bit about his excitement about squeaky things in a box in his house, he's going to turn into a very good chicken protector. He has always been on the lookout since he was tiny for things like hawks in the air, and I don't think he even knew where that drive came from, but that's hundreds of years of land race breeding, because English Shepherds are a similar kind of land race heritage kind of rare breed. But anyway, that's many generations of, I know you want to see them, of selecting for dogs that were good homestead dogs and, you know, protectors of things you wanted protected, like chickens. So anyway, these guys are going to get to cuddle in here. I have other things I have to do, but I'm going to be very tempted to sit here all day and just watch them because they're adorable. Hopefully all of them make it, of course, with any little newborn thing. This is one of the sad things about having live things around. Just if you've never had that, I did grow up with a lot of livestock, sheep, goats, you know, poultry. My parents had a llama once, somebody gave them, you know, various things, cats, dogs. When you have live animals, just like when you have live people, eventually you end up with some dead ones. So that is an unfortunate part of life, but hopefully right now they all look healthy, and hopefully they all grow up to be healthy little birds. We're going to make sure they have a cozy warm end, a cool end, lots of clean food and water, as you can see there. High nose. Most of them are busy eating and drinking. It's amazing to me that a little chick would hatch out of an egg and just know how to, oh, there's water. Somebody showed me water. They put my beak in water. Here's how I drink. I bend down and get a swallow, and I tip my head up and swallow it. And, oh, here's something that looks like food. Let me peck at it and taste it and see if that's yummy. So they are going to be right here for probably a few days. I'm going to go finish creating my little cover for this, just like a screen mesh, so that Burley can't accidentally reach in and be too rough. And I think for now, until they grow just a little bit, which they should do pretty fast at this age, nobody's going to be able to hop out of here. But we are going to put a little screen cover on this and keep an eye on them. And this is going to be the little off-grid, limited power availability chick brooder setup when you get your chicks at the end of May and it's still raining and snowing and rather cold outside. So that's the plan. Thanks to all the different other off-grid folks who shared how they did, you know, brooder setups for little newborn baby chicks, and hopefully this year will be the only time I have to do this, because hopefully some of these will grow up to be wonderful mamas, and when I have more chicks, they will have their own mama with them to take care of them. But to get started from nothing, I had to do something, so this was the start of getting baby chicks here. So our little homestead just grew by, I'm going to have to try to count them again because they're running around, I think right now 26 new little members. And, oh, one of the other things that, you know, as I did reading up on good ways to keep newborn chicks warm, or newly hatched chicks warm, and to work without a heat lamp, another benefit of that actually is if you leave a heat lamp on 24/7, you know, to keep them warm as a heat source instead of having a mama chicken that they, you know, huddle under, there's that light all the time, and that is definitely a downside, because artificial light can, you know, round the clock can lead to, it seems like, some mood disruptions. Some of them can get a little more aggressive with pecking each other. So there seems to be some benefits actually to not having that. There are little brooder plates. If I was going to buy something that needed electricity, I would probably get that. It looks like a little hot plate that stands up on a little stand and kind of radiates heat down, and they can run under it or run out from under it. That would be probably what I would go with if I had the, you know, power available to run it. But for now, they seem pretty content in here. There's a couple cuddled against this wall, but most of them are running around actively doing things, so I think that means that they are warm enough and happy, and I'm going to try not to sit here all day and just watch my adorable little peeps. And soon you'll get to see where they're going to go outside once the weather warms up and they're not quite so tiny. So anyway, I'm excited to introduce Icelandic chickens, joining the heritage breeds here at our little homestead, Burley being the first heritage breed. Got these. We've got some more exciting news coming before too long. Look at all their beautiful colors. It'll be fun to see what shade they all grow up to be. This guy's pretty light with some striping on his head and back. This energetic little one. Look at all kinds of colors going on. Say hi to the camera. They've all been eating and drinking, so some of them are starting to get sleepy. Like any baby, they sleep a lot. This little dark guy with the brown face and the little tuxedo chest, guy or girl, don't know what he is yet, I think is very, very adorable. A little almost reddish cream one. You want to jump off my fingers? Is that your plan? Yeah? Turn around this way and say hi to everybody. Oh, look how cute you are. Be nice. Very gentle. And say hi, very gentle. A couple of them are this color, mostly yellow with black spotting. Plenty of water and food, and now a lot of them are looking like they're going to take a nap. And there must be plenty of warm because they're wanting to curl up and sleep out in the wide open. They're not under their fake chicken mama feathers on the warm end. As I was reading up on how other people with limited power options have raised chicks from day olds like this, despite the fact that most people put them under some kind of heat lamp most commonly, people seem to find when they did not, when they, kept them warm, not cold, like they've got wood stove heat here, but not necessarily up to the 105 degree temperature under the heat lamp that's often recommended, that they actually seem to grow up quicker, hardier, not necessarily grow up quicker, but feather out faster, and you end up with just a healthier, hardier bird, which is our goal anyway. So hopefully that works for all these beautiful little fluff bones. I'm going to have a really hard time not just sitting here all day and watching them eat and snuggle and preen themselves and hop over each other and generally just be adorable. I have other things I have to get done today other than just watch them, but that's going to be very tempting to do. In a few days when I have time, I'm going to do a more full detailed review of how this little off-grid brooder works and how it was set up, so check back for that. Hopefully we'll have good results to share. Hi folks, Ariel over here. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time watching these videos. Hopefully you found something beautiful, educational, interesting, peaceful, relaxing, or useful while you were here. If so, find more videos here, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you like what you found here, feel free to like and share away so that others can benefit as well. You all have a wonderful day.